Welcome to the Prophecy Club. I've got Dean McGriff and Doug Krieger on the phone with me today. Doug has written scores of ebooks on Bible prophecy. He's a teacher and served as an education administrator for public schools for about 20 years and a former pastor. Dean McGriff has 30 years' experience in international business. He's written books on apostasy, deception, global economy, the role of America, and also one of the authors involved in the very popular The Final Babylon, and numerous ebooks and articles. In other words, these guys have been studying and teaching and researching Bible prophecy for a long time. Doug Krieger, Dean McGriff, welcome to the Prophecy Club.
Good to be here. Thank you, Stan. Thank you.
Okay, now here's the deal, guys. We've got both of them on the phone with us today at the same time. Okay, your first topic is the traditional view of prophetic Babylon. Tell us about that.
This is Dean. One of the problems with prophecy is that every generation has to take a fresh look at it. And the trouble is that if you started looking at prophecy at 200 or 300 AD, or 1500 and 1600 AD, or even 100 years ago, you would come up with a skewed view of prophecy. It sort of comes back to Daniel 12. It talks about having a need to know. It says, seal and conceal this until the end. Then I'll reveal these things to you. So whenever we come to that final generation, all of a sudden, understanding prophecy and seeing it as it really is becomes really important. It becomes important to the people that are alive and are remaining at that particular point in time. So the traditional view was formed really during World War I and World War II during the 20th century, actually going back even further from the Roman the view after the Protestant Reformation, and they thought, well, gee, this terrible Babylon is the Roman Catholics, and then it moved on to, it was Napoleon and Mussolini and Hitler and Stalin and Saddam Hussein, and, whoever the bad guy of the day is, became, he and his country became the final Babylon. And so you get up to the Hal Lindsey part in the early 1970s, comes up with this thing, well, the end times are going to occur, and the Lord will be back in 1984, and Europe is going to rise, and this became the popular thing that we were raised with in our generation, is that Europe would somehow revive and would be the resurrected Holy Roman Empire. The Catholic Church would probably play a big role in this as the beast. Everybody pretty much discounted America because America didn't seem to be mentioned specifically in prophecy, which is, kind of an impossibility. Somebody could have written about it 2,000 years or so ago because we weren't here. However, it does talk about mystery Babylon, and so whatever the final Babylon is, it's a mystery, and it's described, so you can sit there and you can describe something and get a pretty good idea. Well, yeah, the Eiffel Tower looks like a Tinker Toy thing that goes up several hundred feet in the air, and pretty soon you've made a description of something, and so that's what we have in the Bible. We have these descriptions of the final Babylon, but the tendency traditionally has been to kind of look around and do prophecy by the latest news report or the latest historical view of who the bad guys in the world are, and so everybody spins out and tries to fit prophecy to the events and the nations and so forth that are existing at that particular moment, which is all fun, but it may not be that accurate. And so what happens is we pass on our inaccuracies from one generation to the next, and we tend to hold on to them, so that a lot of people, for example, are still, convinced that Russia's the bad guy because they were raised thinking that communism was this antichrist philosophy, and form our eschatology as we watch the nightly news. And that's really not the right way to do it. What we should be doing is digging into the Scriptures and see what is the Scriptures telling us. How does it define final Babylon? How does it define the nature of the Antichrist, and so forth? And be looking at it. That is our starting point, not the nightly news or our history texts.
And so what we have here, Stan, is that from the very beginning, you take it around 200 to 300 A.D., that the early church looked upon the Roman Empire, that the Antichrist was going to, there would be a final Antichrist. They agreed to that, and that it would appear that it was going to be a Roman emperor. So this is why Nero's reincarnation of Nero, he would come back to life, his wound would be healed, all of this business. And so there was that infraction. Just a little bit later on, they looked upon Jerusalem as the great city, as Babylon the Great, and that it was judged. In fact, this is a traditional Roman Catholic teaching, is that in 70 A.D., when Jerusalem was destroyed, that prophecy has been fulfilled. And so as far as any Babylon the Great being past tense, we have that. There's a new teaching out now that says that today's Jerusalem is going to be the great city. The title that is given is the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth, and that today's Jerusalem is the description of the final Babylon. As we go through history, it became more apparent, as Dean has brought out, that the view that Mystery Babylon, as a result of the Protestant Reformation, was going to be the Roman Catholic Church. And of course, that was and still is among many Reformed churches the be-all and end-all concept. Of course, Dave Hunt, a writer who wrote the book The Woman Rides the Beast, brought that into a more popular script a number of years ago. And then the Plymouth Brethren during the 1800s and through the turn of the century into the 1900s, the popular view was that there would be a revived Roman Empire, and that out of that revival of the ancient Roman Empire would come the final Antichrist. That view was popularized by Dallas Seminary and C.I. Scofield, as well as Hal Lindsey, who popularized it in his book, The Late Great Planet Earth, in 1967 or so. And from that, we've, extrapolated a number of different things since then. There are many who today, as a result of radical Islam, believe that Islam will be the beast kingdom, and that a sort of a Mahdi or messianic figure will arise out of Islam, and that therefore Islam will be the main contender for the final Babylon. And this view is espoused by Khalid Shumblat and also by Joel Rosenberg and Joel Richardson and others. It's becoming much more popular with people like Joe Farah and individuals like this. Books have been written on it, that Islam is the final Babylon. Our position that we've taken, and due to the nature and the tripartite nature of that great city that is judged in Revelation 16, okay, these are the views on Mystery Babylon, that the view that we take is...
Before you say that view, I have to just jump in here and compliment you. What a wonderful overview of world history as it relates to Bible prophecy. But go ahead. Yes, I agree with you. And they made, all of them missed it. And they missed it for a reason, and we will perhaps get some time to talk about that. But go ahead.
Yes, and so what we have here is that we believe, and some of the teachings within dispensationalism, those of you who are maybe familiar with that system of eschatology, got it right when they said that Babylon is tripartite, meaning that it is primarily a three-part entity, which is comprised, and seen, by the way, in Revelation 16, when Babylon is judged, it says that the city of Babylon is broken up into three parts, very nicely put. Of course, that's a matter of completion. And so when you look at the complete picture of Babylon, in Revelation 17, we see primarily the harlot, we see the apostate, the one-world system of religion that is bound together, and that this is an apostate religion in the sense that she rides the beast, meaning that the state receives moral covering from if you would, the Jezebel who rides the beast. And that in Revelation 18, and of course in each of these chapters, there's the judgment of religious Babylon. In Revelation 17, there's the judgment of commercial Babylon that is seen in Revelation 18 as a vast commercial empire. And what we brought out in the book, The Final Babylon, is that there has rarely been in history, aside from Tyre, the ancient Canaanitish empire of Tyre and the Phoenicians, rarely have we seen a empire that is strictly based on commercialism. And that is what we see today in the United States of America, whose forces, countenance the globe. We have about 1,000 military bases scattered around the world in keeping our commercial interests in place, along with all kinds of other organizations, everything from the IMF to the WTO and all of this. And there's a big economic component on here that Dean McGriff can certainly speak to. And then thirdly is political Babylon, the state itself, the administration. Of course, we know that the Bible teaches that our whole world lies in the hand of the wicked one. Okay, but where is that ultimately manifested? There is a center of power. And it says of Babylon that at one time she was a golden cup in the hand of the Lord, used of God, but now that cup is full of putridities. And so we've seen those putridities. We've seen them spread abroad across the face of the earth. We've seen apostasy in the form of moral relevance that is sweeping the globe, a kind of a deviant form of tolerance, that we do not tolerate any kind of hate speak. This whole thing about Robertson, Phil Robertson on that program with the Duck Dynasty and everything,
right,
and his statements that he made, which is expressing his conviction, biblical conviction, that's considered as hate speak. And if you decide to preach one day out of Romans chapter 1, the hate speak monitors will be visiting you shortly, and who knows, you might be hauled off to some FEMA camp because your speaking is not being tolerated. And so this is becoming a serious thing with regards to things that are happening in mainline religious systems. In particular, we're getting a huge amount of information and propagation of that information and conviction coming out of Rome today, out of the Catholic Church, out of Pope Francis, who is sounding more and more like someone who would embrace just about anything and everybody. In other words,
we'll be right back after this message. The next speakers at the Prophecy Club are Doug Krieger and Dean McGriff. Both prophecy teachers will be speaking on the same platform. Both have been teaching Bible prophecy for over 20 years, both authored and published. They will be speaking Saturday evening, January the 4th, from 7 to 10:30. The topic will be The Final Babylon, America, and the Coming Antichrist. The next morning, Sunday morning, from 9:30 to noon, the topic will be Prophetic Timelines. So you get two seasoned speakers, one on America in Bible prophecy and when the last days might arrive. That's at the Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano, on the corner of Park and K behind the Whataburger. So that's two speakers Saturday evening, January 4th from 7 to 10:30 on The Final Babylon, America, and the Coming Antichrist. And then Sunday morning from 9:30 to noon on the topic Prophetic Timelines. Saturday's suggested door offering $10, no door offering on Sunday for church. See you there! And now, back to the program.
And conviction coming out of Rome today, out of the Catholic Church, out of Pope Francis, who is sounding more and more like someone who would embrace just about anything and everybody. In other words, Jesus being the way, the truth, and the life now is a sort of an ambiguous figure that could fit just about any other religious character on the face of the planet, or an atheist for that matter. And so we're very concerned about where that is heading, that kind of moral relativism. These three have gone hand in hand in the conquest of the New World. The cross, the crown, that's the state, the cross, the religious side of it, if you could look at it that way, along with the commercial aspect that was very pervasive in the founding of the Americas.
One of the things.
Let
me just jump in here. One of the things that I really like about what you're saying is, and folks, as you're listening to these guys, you can tell they've been around in prophecy a long time. Okay. Those are some good people to listen to. Now, we all understand. I mean, you disagree with me from sometimes, and you probably will find some things with every one of our speakers that we disagree with. Here's what you look for. You look for, well, hey, they've had many speakers come through, and many of those speakers agree on these points. And so in the mouth of two or three witnesses, all of a sudden things begin to get established. And these guys, as you can tell, they've been around a long time, bouncing prophecy off of a lot of different directions, done a lot of research, and that's what they're going to bring to you. Now, I've got a question for you. So in talking about Mystery Babylon, who do you think Mystery Babylon is, and have you heard of Dimitri Duduman? And I think I already know the answer. I think we already discussed that briefly, and the answer is yes. So tell us about that.
Well, straightforward. We don't have any problem in identifying Mystery Babylon. In fact, we just ran on our Facebook page on the Final Babylon 105 reasons why we affirm that Mystery Babylon, the whole composite, the whole tripart nature of Mystery Babylon, the entity that fits both the religious side of it, the commercial side of it, and the political side of Mystery Babylon is none other than the United States of America.
And let me just add that these are not just 105 reasons off of the top of our head. These are actually scriptures, 105 scriptures that very clearly describe the final Babylon and America as being that final Babylon. So it's
are you going to cover those 105 scriptures, or at least part of them, in your talk?
Yes, we are.
I definitely want to see those.
Yeah, I put together a slide on that. And
let me ask you a specific question here. I believe that America can be found in 6 chapters in the Bible, and I'd like for you to just give like a 10-second comment or less on each one of these chapters. As I tell you the chapter, tell me what you think. You think that we're right saying that America is there. I may have there may be some more that I haven't even mentioned, but definitely Revelation 18.
Yes, absolutely.
And
that's economic.
Yeah, and Jeremiah chapters 50 and 51.
Right.
No question about it. That is definitely an expression that is put in what we call adumbrative prophetic language. In other words, the language that is spoken has what they call adumbration connected to it. In other words, when you read Jeremiah 50 and 51, it would appear that at one time it's talking about the literal Babylon in the days of Jeremiah. But as you continue to progress, it morphs into something much greater and more cosmic in nature. Therefore, as you're reading Jeremiah 50 and 51, keep that in mind, because it is as if the author, as if the prophet, is prophesying not only of that immediate Babylon and the consequences of dealing with that immediate Babylon, but projects into the future and in times Babylon,
yes.
And that is precisely why you can therefore read more about it in Revelation 18.
Yes.
And Revelation 18 is just probably the most straightforward description, because it's talking about a gigantic commercial empire and a gigantic consumer nation. The whole world trades with it by sea.
Right.
What other country? We know that we're the consumer nation of the world, and everybody sells their Beamers and their Audis and their Sonys and everything else here in the United States.
That's right.
We're the world's market.
That's right.
There's just no doubt about it. And then I'll get into it a little bit more, because I was involved in the spread of this empire throughout the world, and I'll give a little history on that. As in Dallas, I won't do that right now, but it's very interesting how the tentacles of our commercial empire have infiltrated every corner of the world.
I would say that Revelation 18 probably describes America more closely to what a newspaper headline would than anything else. All right, now the other three chapters are Isaiah 13.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Isaiah 13, and we might even throw, you might even have this in there too, Isaiah, the mystery nation, Isaiah chapter 18, which some have overlooked, spliced between the oracle of Damascus in Isaiah 17, and then in Isaiah 19, the oracle of Egypt. And between them is this strange thing about Ethiopia, which is actually a Cush, which is actually the ancient land. Ray Stedman of Peninsula Bible, former great Bible teacher, had said that Cush that is mentioned there is not the Cush of today's Ethiopia, down there south of Egypt, but the ancient Cush that was between the rivers in Syria. And it goes back to the Assyrian, it goes back to Nimrod, we believe, and it goes back to the ancient Babylon, not the Neo-Babylonia of Nebuchadnezzar, but ancient Babylon, where the Tower of Babel and Nimrod and everything. And that is a nation, it says, terrible from its beginning. And so all of those verses in Isaiah 13 and 25, 18 need to be seen as a composite of a description of the ultimate Babylon that is going to be manifested in the end of days. You need to take all those scriptures together, and you get a picture. They're like overlays. You get one Isaiah 13, and you can see the Antichrist clearly. You can see the king of Babylon. You can see this thing building. Then you can see what Babylon does between the oracle of Damascus, the Arab-Israeli wars and conflicts going on today, and ultimately Egypt and Egypt's relationship in the midst of all of that. And then in the middle of all that, there is these ambassadors that come in by sea, which is interesting because here you have this ancient Babylonian expression, the ancient land of Cush, the connection to Nimrod, which is the prototype, the archetype of the Antichrist. And Peter Goodman, who you may know also too, Stan, has some very interesting things. He's written a book on the Antichrist where he believes that there's going to be somehow an expression of Nimrod as the Antichrist in the last days. And so this is pretty pertinent stuff. And Isaiah is loaded for bear when it comes to the final Babylon. Absolutely.
Yeah. I also see Isaiah 47 as America too.
Yes. Many have said that too. That's a confirmation. There's no doubt about it. As you begin to see these scriptures, especially in the Old Testament, in reference to Tyre. Yes. Sidon and Tyre and Sidon, the commercial empire of the Phoenicians, the Canaanites, they could never push them out. Israel was forever fooling around with the Phoenicians and the Canaanites through Jezebel, the marriage to Ahab, bringing in apostasy, connecting it with commercialism, and all of the language, the very graphic, very colorful language with regards to harlotry and fornicating with all the kingdoms of the earth. It says that Tyre would be raised up in the latter days.
Okay,
she would return to her hire.
Let me jump in here. We are about out of time. I'd like for you to take the last couple of minutes here and just give an overview of what you guys are going to be talking about. Saying both of you are going to be on the platform at the same time, kind of give and take back and forth there, sharing some wonderful prophecy information. Tell us what you're going to be telling the folks.
Regards to Dean, go ahead, Dean, and you're sharing.
Well, with regard to the final Babylon and who it is, we're just going to look at all of the aspects of this final end times country and why we think it is, why it can be none other than us. And then, of course, the other critical issue in this whole thing is the timing. How close are we? And that brings us to Doug.
I've written several articles on this, Stan, 6,000 years and time's up. So it's based on the biblical chronology, which differs a little bit from the famous Bishop Ussher, and I'm certainly no intellect compared to Bishop Ussher. He was something else. in his day, Protestants can write very intellectual material, and so his library of 10,000 books on biblical chronology and what have we, laid a very strong foundation.
Okay, well, let me jump in here. Brothers and sisters, you want to make notes of this. Saturday evening, 7 to 10:30. It's going to be the Final Babylon, America and the Coming Antichrist. That's Saturday, January the 4th, 7 to 10:30 p.m., and that's Final Babylon, America and the Coming Antichrist. Then the next morning, Sunday, January the 5th, from 9:30 to noon, is going to be Prophetic Timelines and Events. Now, let me kind of summarize that and break that down for you easily. Saturday, January 4th, 7 to 10:30, is going to be talking about basically America in Bible prophecy, the Final Babylon, America, and the Coming Antichrist. Then Sunday morning is going to be talking about when these things might start coming to pass, the prophetic timelines and the events and the things like that. So if you want to be informed from a couple of guys that have been in this old prophecy world for a long time, as you can tell, then I really recommend you come on out to hear these guys. Once again, Saturday evening, 7 to 10:30, and that is about Final Babylon, America, and the Coming Antichrist. Then Sunday morning is going to be Prophetic Timelines and Events. That's at the Spirit of Prophecy Church, 2540 Avenue K in Plano, on the corner of Park and K, right behind the Whataburger. Spirit of Prophecy Church Prophecy Club. That is at 2540 Avenue K in Plano, on the corner of Park and K, right behind the Whataburger. Also, you can get both of those DVDs, The Final Babylon, America, the Coming Antichrist, and Prophetic Timelines and Events, each one valued at $30, of course, but you can get both of them for a gift to the ministry of just $30. That's right, $30 or more. We'll send you both of these brand new DVDs, and if you call today, we'll even throw in free shipping. That's right. Both DVDs, gift of $30. If you call today, you get free shipping. 785-266-1112, or you can go to prophecyclub.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers, and thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. The next speakers at the Prophecy Club are Doug Krieger and Dean McGriff. Both prophecy teachers will be speaking on the same platform. Both have been teaching Bible prophecy for over 20 years, both authored and published. They will be speaking Saturday evening, January the 4th, from 7 to 10:30. The topic will be the Final Babylon, America, and the Coming Antichrist. The next morning, Sunday morning, from 9:30 to noon, the topic will be Prophetic Timelines. So you get two seasoned speakers, one on America in Bible prophecy and when the last days might arrive. That's at the Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano, on the corner of Park and K behind the Whataburger. So that's two speakers Saturday evening, January 4th, from 7 to 10:30 on the Final Babylon, America, and the Coming Antichrist. And then Sunday morning from 9:30 to noon on the topic Prophetic Timelines. Saturday suggested door offering $10, no door offering on Sunday for church. See you there! Doug Hamp is author of 4 books and 19 DVDs on Bible prophecy and speaks around the globe. But the reason people listen to him is because he reads Hebrew and Greek. And he just made 3 new DVDs. The first one is a graphic look at the second coming in Armageddon. He says, moments after the heavens pass away, Jesus will come down to the Mount of Olives where his feet will break the mountain in two. Then the Battle of Armageddon will begin in Jerusalem, not the Valley of Megiddo. Then the second one is the millennium, heaven on earth. He says once the heavens pass away, the earth is ruined at the coming of Jesus, then the Lord will recreate a new heaven and new earth at the beginning of the millennium. The third one is the final rebellion, Satan's assault against the New Jerusalem. When Satan is released after 1,000 years, he'll convince the mortals to rebel against Jesus and will stage a coup against the New Jerusalem. Then fire from heaven destroys the mortals. You can get all 3 valued at $90 for a gift to the ministry of just $40. And it goes for soul winning, and it'll bless you. 785-266-1112, prophecyclub.com. Ask for the Hamp number 2 gift offer.